Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Didarti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ukta Parakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tachakanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is, translation and commentary of Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. So, text number 57 of the final verse, the perfection, final chapter, the perfection of renunciation. Text number 57. Right? Okay, please repeat. Chetasa Sarvakarmani Mai Sanyasya Matpara Buddhiyogam Apashritya Muksita Satatam Bhava Chetasa Sarvakarmani Mai Sanyasya Matpara Buddhiyogam Upashritya Maksita Satatam Bhava Chetasa Sarvakarmani Mai Sanyasya Matparaha Buddhiyogam Upashritya Maksita Satatam Bhava Chetasa Sarvakarmani Mai Sanyasya Matparaha Buddhiyogam Upashritya Maksita Satatam Bhava. Okay. Please repeat. Chetasa, by intelligence. Sarvakarmani, all kinds of activities. Mai, unto me. Sanyasya, giving up. Matpara, under my protection. Buddhiyogam, devotional activities. Upashritya, taking shelter of. Muksita, in consciousness of me. Satatam, 24 hours a day. Bhava, just become. Translation Srila Prabhupada. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Please repeat. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Purport Srila Prabhupada. When one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as the master of the world. Just like a servant, one should act fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the Master. A servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna, but when Krishna is not present, how should one act? If one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word matpara is very important in this verse. It indicates that one has no goal in life save and except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. That sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. That is a very important point. The order of Krishna comes through disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as the prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, one's perfection in life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed. Mukam karoti vachalam bhangam laite girim yad kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Chetasa sarvakarmani mai sanyasya matparaha bhakti-yoga mupasritya maksitasa tatambhava. Yes, so this chapter, Perfection of Renunciation, we've already been discussing previous weeks how Krishna, he's giving much knowledge to make us detached from the material world. That is the result of spiritual knowledge. From Gyan comes Vairag. Just like in the material world, people used to think that smoking cigarettes was very good, very cool. They thought they were very cool. They're breathing smoke, but they're thinking they're cool. So anyway, but then through knowledge they realize, hey, you keep smoking, you're going to get cancer. Yes. Right? So then they become detached. So this is a very simple material example. So when we have spiritual knowledge, the same thing is there. We become detached from material life. Because we're pointing out the obvious, right? People are coughing. But the doctor comes and says, you're coughing because of your cigarette smoke. So it's very obvious in the material world that whatever you get, you're going to lose at the time of death. And this life is very short. What do they say in the Bible? 70. Right? We don't live very old in this age, 100 years, Kali Yuga. My mother's 96 or something. I lost count. She's still alive. But generally people don't live forever. In fact, you can take it to the bank. No, everything will go. Plus, in this material world, it's not a very nice place, right? We're just discussing. There's fires in Los Angeles. 50,000 people lost their homes. That's just the householder. And here it's cold now. We shouldn't complain about the cold after hearing that. But this material world is not a perfectly comfortable place, right? Adidevik, adibhotik, adiatmic misery. Adidevik means through the weather. Bhotik means through other living entities, envious living entities, mosquitoes, so on and so forth. And adhyatmic, the mind and body causes us trouble. So when that's pointed out, then we realize, yes, we realize the obvious, right? When you have no other alternative, then you make do with it. But when the guru comes, the Prabhupada says here, you can listen to Krishna or the Gita or the representative of Krishna. When the representative or the Gita comes along and say, this is unsatisfactory. You have a better place. You have Vaikuntha, that's your real home. Go back to Godhead. Then this gels it all. This puts all the pennies in place. You start to think, yes. So therefore you start to be interested in spiritual life. What is the solution to birth, death, old age, disease, and all the miseries that come in the material world? If you don't have any knowledge from Guru or Sadhu or Shastra, then you're liable to just carry on thinking, well, I have to make the best of it. Right? I'm in this condition, so what else to do? So that's the ignorance of the material world. So Guru comes along and he says, no, there is an alternative. Your marginal potency, just like between these two pages there's a margin, you can go to the material world or you can go to the spiritual world. It's up to you, it's your choice. So when the Guru brings out the inebrities of the material world and he gives you a vision of the spiritual world, that is the eternal abode where everyone is enlightened, free of envy, there's no birth, death, old age and disease. So then naturally your mind runs to that place, how I can go there. So then Guru says it's up to you. You can choose. If you take shelter of Matpara, if you take shelter of Krishna, Krishna's representative, Krishna's sadhu sangha, his devotees, then you can go to the spiritual world very easily. Because in the company of the sadhus, you'll be inspired in your sadhana. Right? You'll chant Hare Krishna naturally. You'll take prasad naturally. You'll come to Bhagavad-Gita class and you'll be interested. But if you stay with materialists, then your determination will not get support from your association. So ISKCON is made for that. So everyone can come together and become encouraged in using our free will. Maksita. Right? Consciousness. Ultimately, we are in control of our own consciousness. That is the gift of Krishna, Vibhinangsa. We are, just like Krishna is free, so he's given us a portion of freedom. But our freedom is dependent. Just like here, it says here, right? What does Prabhupada say? In all activities, just depend upon me. So in the material world, ahankara vimudatma, people think, I'm the doer. By my intelligence, my body, my talent, my education, I can do all these wonderful things. So they think they're the doer. So Krishna says, vimudatma. What is the Gita? That means a great, foolish conception. Because we're dependent on so many things. Right? We're dependent on the sunlight. We're dependent on the water. We're dependent on food. We're dependent on air. If we don't get air for 2-3 minutes, kaput. We're dependent on so many material things, but also our very existence as a spirit soul. Krishna explains, Mavaivangsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. That we are the angsa, just like the finger is an angsa, a part of the body. So this finger is dependent on the hand and the arm and the leg and the person. So we're dependent on so many factors, and only a little instruction, a little spiritual knowledge can make us see that. So Krishna is saying, look, recognize, what's that verse? Sutre mani gana iva. That everything rests upon me, just like pearls are strung upon the thread. Just like Mataji's making a garland. So without the thread, there's no garland. So Krishna is threaded throughout reality. Remember a few months back, a month or so back, Dharmotha papa nichaya shrutiyashtapangsi, how we quoted that verse, that I worship Govinda by whose conferred power all the potencies that are seen to exist in pap and punya and in bhakti, they're maintaining. He's maintaining all subtle and gross phenomena. So this is a very interesting point, actually, if you contemplate. Then you realize I'm existing moment to moment, eternally, on the grace of Krishna. Because he's decided to keep me alive, maintain. My soul is resting upon Krishna. My existence. So, this conception that I'm independent living entity, which we're taught nowadays in this period of Kali Yuga, that you're a bag of chemicals wandering the face of the earth. The chemicals are reacting. Put in more chemicals for lunch and carry on until the chemical... and therefore I'm independent in this world, and it's all come from a big bang somehow or other. Anyway, so these ideas, they are meant to just make us forget that everything is resting upon Krishna. What is that? Anadi Radhe Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is, he's the cause of all causes. So this is spiritual knowledge. So then Krishna says here, then just depend upon me. That means that when you're giving Bhagavad-Gita class, don't worry too much. Krishna will help you. When you're making products from Gomata, then just depend upon me. I'll give you intelligence. Right? When you're cleaning the temple, I'll give you intelligence. And we have this understanding, right? We all have that experiment. Like say you're learning guitar, you suddenly get ideas how to improve, right? Whatever you try, Krishna says, right? What's that verse? Mataksmriti jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness. I'm giving all this. But in ignorance, in material ignorance, we think, it's all a part of the chemical reaction in my wonderful brain. No, Krishna is our Father. He's related to us. He's in a very good mood with us. He's giving us intelligence. So when we have so many things to do in this world, right? We have to keep ourselves alive. We have to use our intelligence. There's mentioned there. So we should rely on Krishna to guide us. Just like the child relies on the mother and father. And that reliance on the mother and father draws the attention and loving attention of the child, draws the loving attention of the parents. Just like Mother Draupadi, right? She couldn't fight Dushasana. But Govinda. So Krishna protected her. So in this way, a different mentality arises. And this is Krishna consciousness. To realize that everything is resting upon Krishna. What's the rest of that verse? Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimad urjitam eva va. Tat tat eva gachatvam myasamba sambhavam. Right, that everything that you see has come from simple spark of my splendor. All the beauty, even in this material world, there is beauty, but it's just a little spark of Krishna. So when we have that understanding that Supreme Lord is unlimited and well disposed to us, and at the same time the material world is full of inebrities, and it's all temporary, but you have to take another birth and all that kind of stuff again. When you realize the choice, then naturally you go to the spiritual side, is it not? Or at least consider it. Or at least say, I'll try chanting. Right? So, and then you'll develop the mentality of Krishna consciousness. And that means, it's described here, it's very nicely put what Krishna says. Just Krishna consciousness, depend upon him and work under his protection. right? Because later on we'll get that aham sarvadharma prijajya. Everyone knows that sloka. Just surrender to me. So I remember first time I was in the temple and I was reading the Gita, and I was thinking, what does that mean, surrender? But actually in these verses, before that verse, 1866, in this section, Krishna gives us an idea what it means to surrender. Surrender doesn't mean to be passive. You know, in this material world, one man or boxer conquers the other and he surrenders, or there's a war and one country surrenders and they become passive. Okay, we'll sign the treaty, I'll do as you say, and then okay. No, but the actual service to Krishna is not passive surrender. Prabhupada says you must act under the direction of the master, but you should use your intelligence and your abilities in Krishna's service. It's not that you become like a dead puppet. Puppet has no spirit soul, it's just pulled here and there. No, surrender to Krishna means you use all your talents and abilities as a spirit soul or whatever you got in the material world in his service. And you depend upon him. And as Prabhupada pointed out there, he's not particularly... You remember what Prabhupada said? He says, yeah, the result will be the same, but he says the master, oh yes, at the beginning, a servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss. So that's a reference to an earlier verse in the Gita where Krishna tells Arjuna, do your duty, fighting, for the sake of doing your duty, without considering loss or gain, happiness, distress, fame, infamy. Just do your duty. So that's a very good way to understand. In the material world we think our duty is to gain money and joy. But in the spiritual life we think, from Guru, from Shastra, from Sadhu, Mahajayena Katasva Pantha, from the example of the great acharyas, I should act with a sense of duty. That's the distinguishing thing. The human being, and you can all understand that, we have a duty. Some people say you have duty to nation, you have duty to your religion, your family, to your property, so on and so forth. But I should do all those things. Prabhupada says here, I should think I've been appointed to discharge this duty by the arrangement of Krishna. So that is the beginning of bhakti. That's when Lord Chaitanya said to Ramananda Roy, that's okay. What is that verse? Yad karosi yad anasi yogstadosi tadasi yad tapasya sekundaya tad kurushwa madapanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you... just do it as an offering to me. So that's a good starting point, right? And then a starting point is also given by Lord Brahma, Stane Shruti Katan Tanuva Manobir. You're in the material world, so how are you going to go from that page to this page? First, you should perform your material duties as an offering to the Supreme Lord, but you shouldn't, not whimsically, Prabhupada says. That means according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. You should, what is that? Rupa Goswami says the same thing. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairag Sayuchate. That when you do things that can be offered to Krishna, and you avoid things that can't be offered to Krishna, that's Yukta Vairag. That is detachment and connection with Krishna. Detachment from the Maya Shakti and connection. So we all have material duties, family, nation, this and that. They can be done initially from the point of view of, this is an offering to Krishna. But of course, if we're a criminal or a bank robber or something like that, you can't, generally, you can't offer nefarious, sinful activities to the Supreme Lord. You have to usually punya, So that starts the bhakti mood in the heart. And then if one, as Lord Brahma says, whatever your situation, you just stay in that situation and you hear. Stani shruti katan tanuva manobir. You hear the philosophy. Because now, yes, you've heard that the material world is full of inebrities and the spiritual world is full of eternal life. So you're interested, but strengthen that understanding through the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Right? And just depend upon Krishna. And then you live in Vaikuntha. Right? Because the person who thinks I'm the doer, I'm this bag of chemicals, he's always in anxiety, is he not? Because the other bags of chemicals are trying to steal my smartphone or whatever, or this and that. So he's always in some anxiety. The government's trying to take the tax money. This is happening. The motor car will crash. How will I pay the bills? The devotee thinks, I live a simple life and rely on Krishna. Simple living, high thinking. Right? So that high thinking we can depend upon Krishna because we are the children of Krishna, and if you take his shelter, he'll give you shelter. Matpara. And that shelter means his protection. So that's, you see, in this chapter, the first part of the chapter is all that knowledge to make us detached. So now here later on in this section of the chapter, Krishna is telling us, okay, now you renounce from the material world, how are you going to become attached to the spiritual activity? Right? Two sides of the coin. You want to become detached from Maya, so knowledge and sadhu sangha is very powerful. But now how do I actually realize Krishna more and more? That is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. So you have your material duties, all right, do them within the Varnashram, within that, but do it as an offering, but at the same time awaken your relationship with Krishna. What is that verse, Rupa Goswami? Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi. Devotional service should be is that correct? Seva sadhaka rupena. The devotional service should be performed with the sadhaka deha. We should discipline the body. We should avoid non-devotional activities. This is what Krishna is saying in the second half of this verse. We should perform devotional activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. But we should also be attentive to performing devotional activities very nicely. And that should become our main occupation. Therefore, simple living. We don't want to be complicated. So Varnashram is there to give some guidance. It's within the rules, Vaidhi Bhakti. It gives rules, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. But that is external in a lot of ways. Lord Chaitanya says that. Go further. Varnashram, it's a bit external. Waken up the soul. That is the real business. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu will waken up your relationship with Krishna. That's called Swarup Siddhi. Swarup, your own form, will become perfectly manifest through attaining Bhava Bhakti. And Bhava Bhakti is attained through Vaidhi Sadhana, Raganuga Sadhana, and Vaidhi Bhakti. And then you'll become perfectly liberated. And in the liberated state, you'll realize Krishna perfectly. Because Krishna is completely transcendental. There's not a touch of the Maya Shakti there. So you have to be perfectly transcendental to realize Krishna in a deep way. And when you realize Krishna, then your Swarup, your relationship is part and parcel. It's there. So all these things you can read in Jaiva Dharma, later sections of Jaiva Dharma, how to develop the Swarup. It's there in Nectar of Devotion, Bhava Bhakti. 9 symptoms of the Bhava Bhakta, Nama Sada Ruchi, He's detached from the Maya, and so on and so forth. He's attached to Krishna and he's detached from Maya. Now the problem is we have a little attachment to Krishna, but we are fully attached to Maya, at least myself. So we have to change that to being attached to Krishna and only having remnant of attachment to Maya Shakti. So that is not very difficult. If we stay with the sadhus, we take shelter of Krishna, and that activity, when Krishna says in all your activities, he means also your spiritual, your sadhana. Depend upon me. Krishna will give you realization. He says that. Ye tam mam prapadyante tam seva bhajameham. All of them, as they surrender, they worship me, I give them, I reciprocate accordingly. And reciprocation means the realization of Krishna. That is the goal. When we realize Krishna, then we realize our relationship with Krishna. And when we have our relationship with Krishna, we go to the spiritual world. We're in the material world because we're related to the Maya Shakti. And we're in the spiritual world because everyone's related to Krishna. So that's why it's called prayojan. Prayojan means not only goal, but necessity. Because it's necessity. If we don't realize Krishna, then we will undergo birth, death, old age and disease continually. Right? So it's necessary. With birth, death, old age and disease is not a comfortable position. Getting old, getting stuck in a womb again, having to work, having to learn to walk even and speak like a child, right? So having to do all those things, going through all sorts of material, it's a necessity. But because of the Maya Shakti, of course you're all devotees, you've made this decision. But many people in the material world, they're just so dull that they think, I'll just carry on. That's my heroic status. And they are heroes, right? If you go to Delhi in the morning, you see people hanging on the bus, right? Yeah. 50 hanging out the windows, the train, and sitting on the bus. And they're doing that every day. That's very heroic. But they're using their heroism not in sadhana, trying to perfect their sadhana bhakti. They're using their heroism in material life. So they're not, it's misused. And you see, because they are angsa of Krishna, they're just like the spot of water has the same qualities as the ocean, the spot of the ocean. So Krishna is a hero, Nayaka. He's the hero of Vrindavan. He's lifting Govardhan hill, right? He's killing so many asura, Putana and all that. He's a hero. He's looking after all the bridge buses, giving them protection and shelter. So he's a hero. So the soul is also a hero. But instead of being a hero for Maya, in the Maya Shakti, we should be a hero for Guru. Because Prabhupada makes that, right? We should be hero for Guru. That yes, I'm going to fight for Krishna. Just like Krishna tells Arjuna, he says, stand and fight, Arjuna. So this comes to the point. Our free will, we have to choose. Right? But of course, because we're part of Krishna, we have intelligence naturally. So once we're faced with the reality of material world and the vision of the spiritual world, then naturally we want to go to the spiritual world. Because that spiritual nature, we're not meant to suffer. Just like if you're in you may dive in the ocean, but you'll never be comfortable because you're made for the land. You may go there for some time, but you'll see the you'll see the sharks and killer whales. They don't eat humans apparently. But anyway, you'll be more comfortable on the land if you realize what you are. But if you think I belong to the ocean, so this is very important, that spiritual knowledge gives us renunciation, but that is the beginning. That is opening the way to, because you can't be enjoying Maya and making spiritual advancement. You understand? That is the important point. You have to be renounced. You can't be into wine, women and song and then think I'm going to find the kirtan ecstatic. No. You can only be on one page, right? You can't be on 2 pages. You either have to be dedicated to your sadhana bhakti and your study and your hearing and chanting and regulating your material activities, or if you try and make it a part-time job, you won't make any progress. You'll make some sukriti, but you'll take another birth. So actually at the end of Harinam Chintamani, that's what Bhakti Vinod says. He says that a devotee, he explains in the first part how to overcome the offenses, but then he explains that if a devotee becomes serious and he eradicates the offenses, then the power of the holy name will give him bhava, and then he'll get prem. But, he says, however, if he becomes like what we might say a loose devotee or half-hearted, or he doesn't follow nicely, then he can spend many, many lifetimes. Yes, he won't take birth as in animal or lower species. He'll be protected because he's tried in a spiritual way. But he won't get liberation. He won't get bhava. He won't get swarup. He won't get that. He'll stay. And like I say, Bhakti Vinod says you can stay like that for many, many lifetimes. Born in a Vaishnava family, chant a little bit, pass away, go to Swagaloka, born in a Vaishnava family, chant a little bit, take another birth. Hundreds of lifetimes, not 1 or 2. Because it all comes down to ye tammam prapadyante. What's your choice? What's your choice? Huh? So Krishna's reciprocating with our choice. This is a very important point of spiritual knowledge. That he's not dictating. He's giving information, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, and he's giving a hint. Looking at the material world, it's not a very nice place, especially now, so much war and pollution everywhere. So he's giving hint. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to apply yourself to this side of the page, or are you going to apply yourself to this side of the page? Or are you going to jump from one to the other, like a monkey? So of course, when we're neophyte, we often fluctuate. But then that's why we must take shelter of Vaidhi, regulated practice, because it becomes habit is second nature, as they say. So once you have the habit of chanting Hare Krishna and eating prasad and reading the books, then it becomes very delightful. At the beginning you have to cultivate. So anyway, Krishna is saying all these things to Arjuna. Yes, and the result is, in such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So that is the end point. Right? What are we striving for? The materialist striving for his Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim and all that. But the devotee, the sadhu, the rishi, is trying to achieve what? What is his final point? His final is just to become conscious of Krishna. Right? In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. And then next verse, Krishna explains, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. So, if however you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, like the materialist thinks I'm always doing, not hearing me, you will be lost. So this is a very important point. That Krishna, he enters into his devotee's life and gives him shelter. By the grace of Krishna, the devotee crosses the material world. What is that? And that's what he's going to expand that point. What? Sarvadama prijidamamekam sharanam aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mukshayishyami masucha. Don't worry. So yes, in the material world, Krishna is as super soul. You could almost say it's an impersonal activity. Okay, he did this, he'll get this. He did this, he'll get that. He wants this, he'll get. He's just like an order supplier. But if you take shelter of Krishna, then Krishna, okay, now I'm going to help him. I'm going to give him intelligence in the heart. I'm going to give him good association. I'm going to give him inspiration to go to the holy Dham. So Krishna will come in your life. And that is how you become conscious of Krishna. All right? Niyamagra means following rules and regulations, but not watching out for the reciprocation of Krishna, the way Krishna comes in your life. But a devotee, he becomes thrilled. Krishna is coming in my life. He's helping me in this way. He's protecting me in this way. I didn't know that was going to happen, but Krishna helped me in that way. And he sees everything in relationship to Krishna. And he realizes Suridam Sarvabhutanam, that Krishna is the best friend. So we should watch very carefully for the reciprocation of Krishna. We should look out for that. Because that's how we realize the Krishna in the beginning. Krishna comes to us. It's not that he's just coming to the Mahabhagavat, Uttamadhikari. He's coming to the sadhaka also. He's coming to give mercy to everyone. But once you take shelter of him and you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Then he's got an excuse to come and sort you out and take you back to Godhead. So this is it all comes down to this word depend. You see, depend, that is, everything is resting upon Krishna, but the special quality of bhakti is this dependence on Krishna. You see, the jnani or the karmi, I'm going to do my yajna, I'm going to do my duty, I'm going to offer it to Krishna, So he's doing okay, he's connected to Krishna, but he's thinking by karma, then I'll get some result. And then the jnani is thinking, Bhagavad-Gita. Well, I was near the top of the class in the Sanskrit. My guru used to think I was very smart. Let's see what Krishna's got to say. So, come towards the Shastra with an empirical mind. By my intelligence, I will investigate and understand. Bhakta doesn't think like that. He thinks, look what Krishna's saying to Arjuna. He's got bhakti bhav. So he sees the Shastra. And then the yogi is thinking, now I'm going to sit down here, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to fix my mind on the Brahman and the Paramatma. And I'm feeling the Brahman, I'm in Vaikuntha. I'm there. Leave me alone, wife. Okay, potatoes, I'll have some, okay. So they're all with the mentality, I'm the doer. More or less, of course. But the devotee thinks, let me rely on Krishna. Let me depend upon Krishna. He'll sort everything out. But at the same time, he's proactive. Surrender doesn't mean just like you, Prabhu. Prabhu is making so many nice products, right? From the Goshala, right? So that he didn't think, well, I just wait until somebody else does it. Or Krishna can do it, he can do anything. No, we have our talent and ability, and we should use that in Krishna's service. And that reciprocation will draw the reciprocation of Krishna, and through that we'll realize Krishna and then go back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada, Sadhu Sangha, Bhagavad-Gita, Ki. Yeah. So any question? Well, I thought, because today is the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta, so I thought I'd honor the day and Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta. This is a very nice production, actually. It's 3 books by Bhakti Vikas Swami. So the 3rd book has got the writings of Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta. So Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta, he's such a scholar. He was Shrutidhara, you know that. He never forgot. He could just tell you on page 57 it says this, on this. He had such a perfect memory. Naistiki Brahmachari. He was one of 13 sons of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was born in Puri. And so, actually there's a story about him, that when he was a young boy, his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, can you imagine such a father? He practically re-established Vaishnavism in the pure form. Because at his time, there were Vaishnavas, Jagannath Das Babaji and so on, but Vaishnavism had fallen into a very bad condition, and they weren't respected, the Vaishnavas. They were considered as kind of beggars and so on, and they were imitating Rupa Goswami, putting on cloth and so on and so forth, but not actually doing the bhajan. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he re-established Vaishnavism, and then Bhakti-Siddhanta, he went out and in a great organization, the Gaudiya Math, to spread this true understanding of Vaishnavism. So he said, there's no need of writing any books, because my father, well, of course, spiritual father as well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's written all those books. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote an ocean of devotional literature, Jivadharma, Shikshamrita, Tattvaveka, and I advise you all to study them. But at the same time, he wrote many, many essays, and he started one magazine, Sajjana Toshini. And this book has many of the essays that were in that magazine. Actually, the magazine was started by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but then Srila Bhakti-Siddhanta carried it on. So I'll just read a few words out. He wrote 2 poems, Pakrita Rasa Satadustini. Well, he wrote many poems, but this has got 2 of them. 100 Refutations of Mundane Mellows. Now, why is this important? Because, like I say, Vaishnavism had largely fallen down, except for the nucleus of pure Vaishnavas. 100 Refutation of Mundane Mellows. Because the Vaishnavas, and this even is in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu, even during the later part of his Leela, there were many people that were imitating his ecstasy. Of course, he was in Puri for the last 6 years, and he was full of Mahabhav and ecstatic. So a lot of mundane people, they were thinking, I'm following Mahaprabhu, but they hadn't got any spiritual ecstasy, but they were just using their mundane emotions. Sahajiya. Sahajiya means the easy way or the natural way. I love Krishna. Yeah, but real love for Krishna is awoken from the sleeping soul. It is not a mundane projection. I love ice cream, so now I love Lord Chaitanya. No. You have to awaken the soul. So that was one of the big missions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, to transcendentalize the understanding of Vaishnavism. Because largely at that time, Bhakti-Vinod, Bhaktisiddhanta, people thought that the Vaishnavas, well, they're just beggars and they're chanting and they don't know any philosophy. And, they have their seva dasis, they're chasing women and so on and so forth. So you should imagine what a condition Vaishnavism had fell down at the time of Bhakti-Vinod, Bhaktisiddhanta. So Bhaktisiddhanta, in this poem particularly, he attacked that idea that, you just have mundane sentiment towards Radha and Krishna. And then Mayavadi ideas that Radha and Krishna, they somehow are a saipa, an illustration of how we should love our wife, or something like that. They had no idea of the transcendental nature, and that these were the original emotions of the spiritual world. They had no understanding. They were just fallen down. So that was one of his great missions. And also another great mission of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was to expose Putana. He even wrote in one essay I read, he said the sign of the Acharya is, the first thing he does is attack the false purveyors of religion. He attacks the Putanas. He exposes the Putanas. Oh, you think you're a Vaishnava? You're not following anything. You're just having a kirtan, then smoking and chasing women. So, in this essay, 100 Refutations, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, that aspect he takes care of. But also, he attacked the caste Goswamis. There's an essay in here. It's written by his disciple, actually. It's called The Parasitic Goswamis. Then he attacked the caste Brahmanas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had written an essay about the upper Sampradayas, and he'd mentioned 13, the Bauls, the Prakriti, the Gauranga Nagaris, and so actually Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, he expanded that to 13, he subdivided those, because the whole of Bengal particularly was full of these Sahajya groups. So he went on a warpath against them, and they tried to kill him numerous times, so on and so forth. Such a great intellectual, a great devotee, incredibly learned. They wanted to do him away, because he was affecting the family business. Huh? Oh, I'm the guru of you, and my son will be the guru of your children, and then his son will be the guru of your children, their grandchildren, and your grandchildren. And so in this, he'd just become fallen into niyamagraha and rules and regulations. But the essence of prem bhakti had been long forgotten, and it had been taken as equivalent to material emotion. So I'll read this is a long poem, I'll just read a little bit on Srila Bhakrita. Pakrita chetasa bhai kabu rasa hayanai. Jadaya pakita rasuda bhakti gayanaya. O brother, no material efforts can ever awaken can ever affect the awakening of rasa. A pure devotee of the Lord never glorifies any rasa born of the dull material world. True disciples do not desire to ask their gurus for instruction regarding material ras. A genuine guru does not teach any rasa devoid of rati, transcendental loving attachment to the Lord. A devotee never considers the holy name of Krishna and rasa as two separate entities, nor does he ever say that there is a difference between them. So in this way, long essay, and there's also another essay here, very interesting one. That's 100 verses. So, Vaishnav K, who is a Vaishnav? So you can see in these essays, he's establishing what is Vaishnavism. You see, Dushtamana Tumi Kisha Vaishnava. Wicked mind, what kind of Vaishnava are you? Your show of chanting Harinam in a solitary place is for false prestige, simply hypocrisy. Mundane prestige is like hog stool. Do you know that such repute is an illusion cast by Maya? What is the value of contemplating wealth and women day and night? All of that is temporary. Your wealth is the progenitor of material enjoyment. Use it to serve Madhava. You are not meant to lust for women whose only proprietor is Yadava. So in this way, it's a great essay. It's 19 verses. He really separates the spiritual emotions of an awakened soul from the material emotions. So but Prabhupada does say at the beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the purport there, he said we should respect the Sahajiyas because they are devotees. They are trying to approach Krishna, but they're doing it with mundane emotion. So we shouldn't think, oh, they're nonsense, they're not devotees. They're on the path, but they're not having the proper understanding, the distinction between Maya and Chit Shakti. You see, so that is very important. That's the first job of the Guru, actually, to give Dashamula. Then there's he defines Gaudiya Mat, and then there's all sorts. Oh, there's also this is a great essay, assuming responsibility of being Guru from a lecture. This one. And he explains. I'll just read the first paragraph. We have taken upon ourselves the meaning himself, the responsibility of welcoming this grave charge to become Guru. All in the audience have accepted ordinary seats. I alone have been provided with a lofty seat. All are in effect being told, have a look at a big animal from the zoo gardens. What arrogance, so foolish, so wicked. Have you ever seen such a big brute? Garlands of flowers have been put around his neck. What laudations, what bombastic long-drawn hyperbole adjectives. And how complacently he is sitting, listening to the praise of his own achievements. How intently, and with his own ears. Evidently he also feels delighted. Is he not acting in plain violation of the teachings of Mahaprabhu? Trinadapi Sanichena. Can such a big brute, so selfish and insolent, ever be reclaimed from such brutishness? I happen to be one of the greatest of fools. Because of my arrogance, no one offers me good advice. This is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Even though he was such a paramount scholar and bhakta, this was his internal mood. Inasmuch as nobody condescends to instruct me, it occurred to me that I should present my case to Mahaprabhu himself and see how he would advise me. Then Mahaprabhu said to me, whomever you meet, instruct him regarding Krishna. On my order, become Guru and save this land. Right, you know what is that? Amara Agyaya Guru Tara Aidesh. In this way you will not be obstructed by the current of the world. You will have my company once again at this place. Because that refers to a section in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There was one great, I think it's a Kurma Brahmin, right? He met Mahaprabhu and he was ecstatic. And so he asked, Mahaprabhu, should I give up my family and come with you? And, should I renounce the family? Mahaprabhu said, no, go back to your village. And on my order, become Guru and liberate the village. Teach them. So that's very significant. In these verses is found the proper explanation of the apparent inconsistency described above. He whose only teaching is humility, more than a blade of grass, said, "By my command, become a guru and save this land." In this instance, Mahaprabhu himself has given the decree. Perform the duty of guru, even as I myself do. Convey this same instruction to whomsoever you chance to meet. So he's saying, everybody, you become guru and you tell everyone else to become guru. Huh? Chaitanya Dev says, tell them these very words, on my order, become a guru and save this land. Deliver people from their foolishness. Now, whoever happens to hear these words would naturally protest with palms joined. But I am only a great sinner. How can I become guru? You are Godhead himself, Jagat Guru. Only you can become guru. To this Mahaprabhu replies, in this you will not be obstructed by the current of the world. You will have my company again at this place. Do not practice the occupation of guru for the purpose of injuring others through malice. Do not adopt the livelihood of guru to become immersed in the sloth of this world. But if indeed you can be my guileless servant, you will be endowed with my power. That you need not fear. So depend upon Krishna, we're just studying, right? I have no fear. My Gurudev has heard this instruction from his Gurudev, and it is for this reason that my Gurudev accepted even such a great sinner as I and told me, on my order, become Guru and save this land. Only those who have never heard those words of Gaurasunda say, how bizarre to listen to one's own praise. You know, like today was a Vyas Puja, right? We're praising. In their opinion, while the Guru is instructing the disciple in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, he is perpetuating a major sin. So 11th canto is the Uddhava-Gita, where Uddhava is told to, pay your obeisances to the hogs and dogs and see Krishna within the heart of even the insects and the dog. What is the Acharya to do when he has to explain the verse, Acharya mam vijaniyat? Never disregard the Acharya or consider him your equal in any sense. These are the words of Krishna himself, whereby the jiva is to be benefited. Is the Guru to desert his seat, the seat of the Acharya, from which these words are to be explained? That office was conferred on him by his Gurudev. If he does not accept up to its requirements, he is doomed to perdition for his offense against the holy name in the shape of disrespect towards Guru. He must execute his duty notwithstanding such behavior being open to the charge of egotism. So it's a very brilliant essay. And he, that was just like, he balances these two things. The Vaishnava is supposed to offer respects to everyone and to be very humble and tolerant, of course, like a blade of grass. But at the same time, when he acts as Guru, then he has to instruct, and he explains it here and there, he has to instruct the disciple in, to offer respect even to the Guru. Even though Mahaprabhu says, amanina, don't want respect. But the Guru has to tell the disciple, you've got to respect me. So there's a contradiction apparently. So the person being Guru may think this is dangerous. People are respect, but here he says, don't worry, I'll protect you. So that's today's verse too. That Krishna will protect you. But we have to act. We have to, the Guru has to appear to be Guru, you can say. Because that's how the people in this world are. They don't perceive a Guru through his words initially. Oh, he's a big man. He's on a big seat. He's got a big garland. Let me listen to him. But if there's somebody sitting under a tree, he may be a Mahabhagavat. Think, what's this fellow doing sitting under the tree? It's not Guru, he doesn't know anything. So it is the austerity of the bhaktas that they take worship, that they instruct their disciples to give respect to me. That is their austerity and mercy, because it is for the benefit of the disciples, because the disciples cannot initially perceive the transcendental platform, the quality of the Guru, the nature of Krishna. So by training them in the regulated worship of Guru, the disciples come to transcendence. So it is the mercy of Guru that he makes that instruction clear to the world. So anyway, so if you read the writings of the great acharyas, then they sort out all spiritual knowledge for your benefit. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Ke. Yeah. So any question? Yes. Oh, this is called Bhakti Vedanta Vaibhav. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav. It's 3 volumes. The first volume is the life story and activities of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. The second volume is a description of his disciples. And the third volume is just a few of his essays and teachings. There are other books you can get from Gaudiya Math with his teachings and so on.
You said fire in Los Angeles, 50,000 people died.
This gentleman said so.
50,000 homes so far have been destroyed.
The news is the latest.
That's the latest that I saw.
Global fooling, it's called.
Some said it.
Yes? Huh? Yes. False Putanas.
In our spiritual life until Baba, we don't have spiritual emotions.
Excuse me?